What's going on, guys? I'm Kyle Bradshaw, and this here is MotoCity. Today we're standing here with Kawasaki's redesigned KLR 650. Now, for those of you that know the KLR, this thing is a cult bike. There are guys that only ride KLRs, and they don't have eyes for anything else. Now, Kawasaki figured this out, and they have made some changes that I think are really nice to these bikes. And the price point is really reasonable as well. The bare bones basic model here in the background is going to be $66.99. Now, this is going to have almost zero electronics other than the electronics that it takes to run the motorcycle. We're looking at an electronic ignition, we're looking at headlights, taillights, turn signals, things of that nature. There is no ABS, there's no traction control, there is nothing computer aided on this machine. Now, if you were to put ABS onto this motorcycle, it's going to take that price up to $69.99. Now, moving on over to the next step up in the KLR line, we're looking at the KLR 650 Traveler. The Traveler version of the motorcycle has electronic power ports on both sides of the dash. One's going to be a USB power port, and the other's going to be a 12-volt power port socket. It's also going to have a lockable trunk that utilizes the ignition key, so a single key to get into the trunk and to remove the trunk from the motorcycle. Now, the Traveler's weighing in at $7,399 as it sits here with ABS, power ports, and the top case. Now, there's also a third version of the KLR 650, and that is going to be called the Adventure motorcycle. That version of the motorcycle is going to come with engine protection, a tank guard, driving lights, full lockable luggage. There's a slew of things that that bike has that these two don't. And we'll get into that here in just a bit. What's going on, guys? It is here, the brand new, well, redesigned KLR 650. We're looking at 652 cc's of legendary KLR power. More like a tractor. This thing just chugs and it goes and it does just about anything and will go just about anywhere. Sometimes it can take a little bit of work, like cruising down the highway at whatever the top speed is. I've done that before from the Bay Area, California, all the way over to Las Vegas, and that was a trek. Anyhow, today we're talking about this brand new redesigned vehicle, and today I'm sitting on a very rare one of these, actually. This is the completely base model. There's no ABS, there's no electronics other than the electronic ignition, the fuel injection, the front and rear tail lights and turn signals, and that's pretty much it. So if you're looking for bare bones basic, this is the bike, and it starts at $6,699. Now, I am really disappointed that Kawasaki did not include the electrical sockets on this bike. I mean, what does that cost? Like 30 bucks to put those things in? And I think that would have made this bike just a little bit better. But 300 bucks is what it costs in order to put ABS on this thing. It goes from $66.99 to $69.99. Now, if you're riding on the highway at all, I think that that is a very, very good upgrade and one that you should probably take a look at. But if you don't ride on the highway, you just cruise trails, this base model right here at $66.99 is a smoking deal. Now, what do you get? The next version of this bike that goes up is going to be the Traveler. Now, for $400 more, you can get the Traveler version that retails for $73.99. That's going to give you a top case, and it's going to give you your power ports, both your DC and your USB power ports. That, I think, is a great value, but I don't know if it's worth 400 bucks, Kawasaki. I'm really kind of miffed at why the standard bike doesn't have electrical power ports. And then if we're looking at the Adventure is the full Monty that I just did a detailed walk around of last week. I'm going to go ahead and put that at the end of this video. Literally, this thing is decked out. That bike is completely outfitted, and it's retailing for $79.99. Now, you can get it without ABS for $76.99, but that extra couple $100 bucks, like I said, if you're going to be riding it on pavement at all, is a definite value add, and I'd recommend that you get that option. Now, the base model I'm sitting on is a rare bird as well because of the color. This burnt orange color looks really good, but they're not producing a whole lot of them this year. So right now I'm going to take you on a walk around of that fully decked out KLR 650 Adventure. This thing is sweet, and I really think that Kawasaki did a great job. I mean, the difference, it's about $1,000 difference between this model here and the completely outfitted model. And that model, you get driving lights, you get all kinds of creature comforts that you just don't get on this machine right here. All right, stick with me and we'll take that walk around coming up next. What's up, guys? Here it is, the first KLR 650 Adventure to hit the floor here at MotoCity. Now this thing just got built and it's about ready to walk out the door, so I wanted to give you a quick little walk around of this bike before it gets loaded up and taken out. Dude, take a look at how huge these fog lights are, or spotlights are. Man, for driving lights, usually driving lights are about half that size, but these things are like almost as big as my hand. Crazy big, way bigger than I thought they would be in looking at the pictures of it online. Windshield looks pretty decent. I've heard nightmares about the adjustability. You see here on the inside, you've got these two screws right here. Oh, which way we can see it? See those two screws right there on the inside? You have to undo those two screws and then you can move it up to that hole or to that hole, which is gonna give you, 3 inches of adjustment or so. But to have to pull out your Allen wrench and actually remove the shield off, adjust the bracket, and then put the shield back on in order to get that adjustment, that's a bummer, Kawasaki. I really wish you would have done something a little bit more streamlined and sleek. That would have been great. Right here's your button for your driving lights. Really convenient, just right up here on the dash. Little on-off, super convenient. Now, a very interesting thing that Kawasaki did on this bike that we're not seeing out there a whole lot is the fact that they actually put, wow, double protected. That's really interesting. They put a USB port over here on this side. The double protection's kind of wild. And then over on this side, they actually put a 12-volt power socket. I really like that. The fact that you have both of those options up here in the dash. And a lot of guys are running a GPS and a phone. They're charging batteries, doing all kinds of stuff. I mean, I think that's a huge feature, or benefit, I should say, of this particular motorcycle. I haven't seen the screen fire up yet. Let's take a look at it. So there we go. We got a clock. We got the miles, odometer, fuel. Where's the clicker that allows us to... Oh, there's our high beams. Little flicker. A little tiny button over here on the side. Probably to reset your... Oh, here we go. It's going to give us trip A. It's going to give us trip B. And there's your odometer. That's it. This bike is super simple. Other than the fact that it has ABS on it, there's really no other electronic wizardry other than the fuel injection, which I hear they've done a really good job on. It's averaging like 65 miles a gallon. It's pretty crazy. So the benefits of this machine as compared to the two other lower builds of this bike. So this Adventure version is going to retail at $7,999. Now the additional vehicle features that this bike has that the others don't, it's going to come with side cases, fog lamps, frame sliders, tank pad, DC and USB sockets, which we already talked about, anti-lock brakes, and the special color and graphics, Cypher Camo Gray. Now, one thing that a lot of you guys have asked is, how does this thing sound? They pumped up the motor just a little bit, they beefed up. The exhaust system actually looks a lot better than previous versions. Sounds that old school military look, if you will. Well, let's hear what this thing sounds like. Can you hear the fuel pumper on when you turn the switch? And there it is, guys. KLR 650 Adventure. I'm really digging the cockpit and what Kawasaki did up here. It kind of reminds me of a Harley Davidson bagger. Kind of interesting. This tank pad is one of the additions that Kawasaki has put on this model they didn't put on the other two models. We have the hard bags here that lock onto the motorcycle. Another benefit of the Adventure model versus the other two models that Kawasaki has put out. We're still running a 130 8017 rear wheel and tire. That's going to be pretty traditional for all of the KLRs in the past. It's just enough rubber to get you traction, and it's light enough in order to be able to allow this little tiny motor. Not little tiny motor, I mean it's a 650. But the amount of horsepower this thing cranks out is not quite as robust as some of the other bikes that are out there in the market. Coming up the swing arm, we can see that we have pretty basic pegs from Kawasaki. They are rubber mounted. and they're very, very flexible. So I feel like you're riding on a cloud when you're standing on those things. Coming up, we have the fuel injection up here. I think they did a really good job with this fairing. I told you about the cockpit here just a minute ago. Of course, got a 90/90/21 front tire and front wheel. It's going to allow you to climb up and over anything that you need to out there in the wild. Again, it comes with fog lights, comes with a little set of engine guards down here. I think that's a neat feature. Now the skid plate is actually plastic. I don't think I'm such a big fan of that, Kawasaki. I wish you would have done something a little bit different. But most guys who are actually going to go out and off-road this thing as a traditional adventure guy would is probably going to put their own skid plate on it anyhow. Moving back up to the top here, we do have some hand guards, more so for blocking the wind and the weather, and of course getting tree branches and stuff out of the way too, but this is not going to protect your levers if you happen to fall over, as it doesn't have any type of backbone and is open here on the end. So if you fall over, you're probably going to break a lever, bust a bar end off, and of course smash up that handguard in the process. Now they definitely went traditional and old school with this 7/8 inch steel handlebar that they put on this bike. I would have loved to have seen a tapered aluminum bar. That way you get the anti-vibration characteristics of the aluminum, and you also get the strength, and of course you wouldn't have this bar running across the top of your ignition vantage point there. Taking a look down at the forks, they're pretty skinny. I wish they would have beefed those up with a couple more millimeters, but from all the ride reviews that I've seen so far, they've actually done a pretty good job while guys are out there doing the dual sport effect. Let's go ahead and turn on those driving lights and see what we have up here. LED headlights are awesome, man. The amount of light that this thing puts out is pretty darn good. Again, those driving lights match the same Kelvin or color brightness as that LED headlight. I think that's pretty awesome. Now, interesting thing, while going LED with the headlight, they still went with the cheesy old incandescent blinkers. I find that pretty funny, actually. Coming back here to the back, we have an incandescent bulb back here for the tail light. Obviously the turn signals as well. And there you go, guys. Just a quick look and walk around the KLR 650 Adventure here on the showroom floor at MotoCity Powersports. It's going to be a fun machine. With the retail point at $7,999 at $8,000, you're getting a lot of machine right here. Nice job, Kawasaki. Here it is, KLR 650 Adventure. If you like this little walk around, please give it a big thumbs up. Leave a comment down below and let me know what you like or dislike about this new offering, or revised offering, I should say, from Kawasaki. Thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, take care. Ride safe out there.